Hello everyone! So, once again, the Hasbro Transformers brand team has done a Q&A session, a roundtable with select members of the fandom and representatives of various websites. Once again, I don't get an invite. Probably because I'm the plastic addict guy who spent, a decade making fun of their worst toys. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. I've come to accept that I will never actually get asked onto anything like this, or have any kind of official support from Hasbro in any way, shape, or form. But you know what I can do? I can at least respond to their questions in a video format to get my opinions out there, and my own speculations. Now, I was going to use the Transformers World 2005, TFW 2005 entry for this. However, frankly, TFU.info over on Twitter did such a good job summarizing this entire thing, I would rather just use that and keep it simple. So we're going to go off of this Twitter feed, which does have like a really, really good breakdown of every question. I really don't think the list on TFW got as much as this one did. So let's just go through it and cover everything in the panel. The one thing that is not here is that they did have like a little notice before the stream that Takara leads the way on Masterpiece reveals, so a US release for Masterpiece movie Blackout is not scheduled for now. There is a listing that rumors its price somewhere close to a Titan's price, which not surprising, but that's something to speculate on later. There is nothing official announced yet, so that is that. So, okay, first question is about the origins of Legacy. It is its own line, no sublines within the line, which means that there is not like a separate Beast Wars Legacy line. There's not a separate Unicron Trilogy Legacy line. It's just a jumble of all different generations and whatever they feel is right at the time. Buzzworthy is considered a capsule program for Target with Legacy branding. There's another mention that the two, like the different brands of Transformers would have like crossover branding when applicable. So things like the 86 movie toys getting repaints in Buzzworthy, that kind of thing. It makes sense. Buzzworthy seems to be Target's personal exclusive line, whereas Walmart got the Netflix line, and they are rumored to get things like a Wrecker line and a Velocitron line, things like that. So we kind of divided up here a little bit. Buzzworthy seems to be doing well. They keep making new toys for it. So yeah, better to keep them separate, I guess. Next question, why are combiner limbs spread across waves? I'm actually kind of surprised this question was asked because this has been known for a long time. They mentioned that some of it is practical, shared parts and toolings and whatnot. You wouldn't want to release, the same, what is essentially the same figure in the same wave. The concern here was that if it's released, people who come into the line later will have a harder time going back and getting the older figures. But I feel like the same is true. If every Stunticon was released as one wave, you'd still have a hard time getting a hold of them if you came into the line later. So I feel like that's just, 6 to some, half a dozen to another. It just seems like the same problem. They did mention that gift sets are an option. That is not not off the table. So yeah, good. So that G2 Menasor once again is a distinct possibility. Be expensive, but man. All right, so that's something we've known for a long time. They don't want to put similar toys out at the same time, and Stunticons are a bunch of cars, so that seems pretty good. Third question, this one's important. The yellowing plastic problems that we've been having lately. As it turns out, it's the PA, the stronger plastic materials that are doing the yellowing, the sturdier stuff they use for joints, etc. They mentioned Hasbro plastics are put through a UV treatment standard. Something that did catch from another report was that because of the pandemic, they have not been able to travel to factories overseas as often, so they can't quality control as well as they used to. That's probably why we are seeing a round of QA issues as well as these problems with the plastics. So, because the fan posts are being vocal, they're able to pinpoint where the issues with the yellowing plastic, particularly the photos, were helpful. So, good on the fandom, bringing attention to this. Kind of proof that they're actually out there listening and working on it. This is actually really encouraging that they know that that problem has been a recent development, and they're going to try to fix it. So, hopefully, like, by the time we have, like, G-Axis on the like, hopefully this has been fixed already in G-Axis, like an all-white G-Axis is going to be fine. Question 4, does Legacy Blitzwing have a 360 turning turret? I'm not going to name names, but I'm sorry. This is a waste of a question. Why would you waste a question? Like, you get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Oh, no. Ask something more relevant than just, like, can Blitzwing's turret turn all the way around? Yes. Yes, it can. All right. How do you choose characters for Legacy? Okay, simple enough here. Let's see. Week spent in advance on the line plan. So what you're going to do with the toy line, I guess. A lot of factors. Character traits, gender, color, alt mode, need of update, designer preference, trying to strike a balance. Budgeting and costs also play a factor in the choices. So a lot of that does make sense. A lot of it is just like who is due. So when I did the video saying like these are the characters who need new toys, people went, wow, Hasbro must have been listening. All these came out. No, I was just reading the tea leaves. Here's a bunch of well-known characters who either had poor toys in the past or haven't had a new toy in forever. They're due. And that's pretty much how they choose it too. And then it's based on, normal things, like they don't want to bog the shelf down with similar looking things. So like we're probably not getting another SUV thing outside of maybe a cross-cut repaint of skids. We aren't getting another like blue, car truck kind of thing for a while. They try to hit that balance. I don't know if it was this question, but there's another question or another question later on, but they do also mention that because they have some figures that are smaller than others, it allows them to balance the weight of the figures. So that plays into the budgeting as well. So like if they do a cliff jumper in a wave who's a much smaller deluxe, they can get away with a bulkier, heavier deluxe. Marvel Legends have been doing that for a long time. If a female is in the wave, some bulky, like, bigger character can be in the wave. They do the Fantastic Four because the money and weight spent on the Sue Storm is what ends up being used for the Thing. That kind of thing. Question 6, why Cybertron Metroplex versus other characters? This team picked up Metroplex from the previous team. Ties in the legacy story theme. As a minor of Energon, story was initial driver for getting Metroplex in there, still designing the toy for kids ultimately. A more elaborate explanation of this. So because the line wide, at some point, the previous team was working on Cybertron Metroplex. The new team picked it up. And in order to work it into Legacy, they created this Energon weapon gimmick that goes through all the different figures, and then decided that Metroplex is like the key piece to that as an Energon minor. The problem is there's nothing about Metroplex's toy that indicates that it is an Energon minor. It's just a big construction vehicle. It doesn't have any Energon-based gimmicks in and of itself. And there's no play pattern that connects it to all the Energon weapons. And the Energon weapon gimmick isn't even really, like, brought up. They're just, like, translucent plastic weapon pieces that everyone comes with. And they even admit it's a kid's gimmick. It's just something for kids to do and have them play with and be able to build their own weapons and things. I don't know. It just seems like a flimsy excuse. It feels like a non-answer. It feels like they didn't even say why Metroplex... Cybertron Metroplex of all figures, it just feels hollow. It just felt like they dodged the answer, and it felt like they didn't really have a good answer. All right, surprises to fan reaction. So apparently the pre-order numbers for Wave 2 of Legacy are huge, and some of the lesser known characters also sold really well, and even after release, they mentioned Bulkhead as an example. good to know. It's good to know that the non-G1s had some demand to them. And I'm glad to say another report said that they actually outsold some of the G1 characters. So that's actually cool. It might also be indicative of you put out, some lesser desired G1 characters. Just throwing that out there. See, price increases. Talking about more price bumps. Increases have come across all action figure brands, not just Transformers. Can't say there won't be more. Marvel and Star Wars have gotten hit with further increases going forward. Deluxes will be $24.99. Cardboard prices going up as well. This is just, the fact of capitalism and inflation, etc., etc. This is no big surprise. This is just business as usual. There's a lot more factors. We had that shipping crisis where everything is still behind. Oil prices are terrible right now. All of that. There's a lot of factors to this. And as we said in a previous video, Transformers is just way more complicated than like a Star Wars or Marvel Legends figure that has a basic body that they start with. Transformers have to be done from the ground up, and each one is unique in that. So they are very, very difficult to develop compared to a lot of other toy lines. Thus, they are more expensive to develop. And I'm playing devil's advocate here. Please don't get super explainy in the comments section. Every time I try to do any kind of defense of the prices, I hate the prices too. But there's reasons for the prices, and I don't need to get attacked because I point out obvious things. All right. My little defense there. All right. See, Siege Soundwave for Legacy and not Netflix Soundwave. It's because it is a Walmart exclusive, which is exclusive to them for a period of time. If Walmart wants the toy again, they can have the toy again within that time frame. So basically, if we want to get that mold again, we just have to wait long enough. They didn't say how long Walmart had the deal for, but that's the reason. They wanted a Soundwave in there to go with the blaster. There is none available to them aside from the Siege. So, okay, fine. Packaging. Open packaging, people stealing heads. Hello, Silver Streak. Any preventative measures? No change for now, and no plan to return to the old plastic bubbles or covers or maybe closed boxes in the future. So, this is again going back to my argument against closed boxes. I don't think it encourages theft, but I do think it makes it very easy. And I think it makes it easy to victimize somebody at the register who is going to buy the toy and get it home before they find out they got robbed. And that's going to be, a lot more often than not, that's going to be a kid who doesn't know better. That's who I'm really worried about with those closed boxes. There's alternatives. There should be other ways of protecting the inside and making the toy visible and still being environmentally conscious. It's just a matter of Hasbro, picking it. Let's see what else in here. Open boxes still sells better to kids, so open boxes have been chosen for Transformers versus other Hasbro lines aimed at older fans. We have to remember, Transformers is still designed and marketed specifically for kids. There's just a lot of adult collectors. That's the gist of it. So it's always going to be what works for kids first. Is Metasaur Combiner War compatible? So someone was asking based on those sockets that seem to look like the ones that were from Combiner Wars. On the legs, they fit, but not really. They won't really stay on. And then the arms have no way. There's a completely different connection style for the arms. So that's simple enough. See, Core Class Skywarp's missing arm cannons, accessory packs coming. No comment, anything is possible, definitely on their radar, cannot confirm or deny. This basically sounds like, whenever they say cannot confirm or deny, that's confirmation. They're working on some solution for fans who really wanted those null rays. I guarantee we're not going to get any kind of answer on that until we get a Thundercracker to complete the trio. In fact, my bet here is that we are getting something similar to the selects, I can't even remember the name. The select figures with the weapon packs, like the Centurion Guard, like the Centurion Drone. Like, this one extra figure with a whole bunch of added accessories to fill out your previous toys. That's what I feel like we're going to get there. I feel like we're going to get a Thundercracker as a selects release, and he's going to come with all the null rays. That's my bet. That's my bet. See. Instagram designer posts. Is there any consideration toward publishing them more often? Not really a question here. Designers are all on board and love doing them, but nothing planned otherwise. Yeah, like I said in a previous video, the designers on Instagram are just nailing it with the behind-the-scenes stuff. And, like, this question was mostly about, like, are we going to get more behind-the-scenes stuff? And, yeah, like, the artists are going to keep doing them because they like to do them. But as far as, like, putting them out there or publishing them more, that's not on the table right now. Which is a shame. I've said it before. Hearing all that behind-the-scenes stuff and seeing how complicated it is to make a Transformer happen does give me more appreciation for the toys themselves. And it's a reminder of just how special a Transformer is compared to most other toy lines. So that's kind of cool to know we're still going to get more. I am among those who wishes like they were more at the forefront and they were going to do more with it. Let's see. Inspiration for Jaxus. Mark's idea. Worked on Thrilling 31. At the time, there was a push toward brighter colors, hence the orange color similar to RID 01. So yeah, he was a Armada Starscream Deluxe retool with the G2 style head, but the white and orange from the RID version of the toy, which was just basically just a repaint for the sake of trademarking the term. So it's good to know that there's some emphasis on making a proper one here. Really, and I kind of like that the one who worked on the original, not the original, but the Thrilling 31 is the one who's actually really pushed for the new one. Cool to know. Let's see, 13 continued. Okay, I'm not. They couldn't get the spelling right, so I'm not going to try to pronounce the name. But someone from the Japanese design team also loved Jaxus. Toy has hand articulation. We noticed that. Mark also brings up Machine Wars every brainstorming session. That's we're not gonna get Machine Wars. I'm sorry, but no. We saw with the BotCon sets. The BotCon sets are a word of warning against anything Machine Wars. Outside of doing like an updated Machine Wars Starscream, I really don't think you're gonna get anything across on that one. PR is working to get figures to Simon Furman and Andrew Wildman. So there's been a thing recently where some designers and especially comic book artists have been getting upset because characters that they designed or wrote and invented, they don't even get like free product of, let alone like credit on the box or anything like that. So like Simon Furman was very vocal that like he created Jaxus, and Hasbro, there's no royalties from that in any way, shape, or form. There's no freebies or anything. Like, don't get any, they have to go out and buy the characters they invented. So it's good to know that Hasbro's at least sending the toys to the people who designed or created the characters. That's fine. I did think they deserve a little bit more than that, but, that's business. See. 14. Will Metroplex have any features from previous lines that, like Bulkhead did? Road connectors will be there. Omega Supreme style. Keys and minicons are not. Drill bit was planned but costed out. So, let's see. Drill bit, part of the original concept, became too expensive to produce early on. Could be a core offering in the future, but nothing planned. So, there's a lot of here, and there's frustrating. So, the road connectors I actually missed. They are the Omega Supreme style connectors, so anything that connected to him can connect onto this Metroplex. I don't understand why, because this Metroplex doesn't have a base mode. You can just hook ramps to it if you want to. That's weird. I don't understand that, or I don't even know how that play pattern is supposed to work, but at least it's there. I missed it in my breakdown. I can't believe I talked about that toy for 30 minutes and I missed the part where it actually had those road connectors. All right, so beyond that, the minicon drill bit, jeez. So you're telling me that this massive toy that ended up being $200, a $40 jump from where we're kind of accustomed to Titans being, and you couldn't budget in a mini con. You remember, so if you don't remember Drillbit transforms by keeping his arms to the side and using his natural articulation, the hips and the knees, to bend his legs over his back and then flip out his guns. In hindsight, the only dedicated engineering point for transformation are the drills that flip out of him, which means it's an extraordinarily simple toy. Yeah, the fact that it's gone missing from this figure when this figure is so bloody expensive is just, I don't know. That feels flimsy. That feels really, really flimsy. Considering all the other Titans had their partner figures eventually created, I would not be surprised if a core class drill bit came out at some point. But considering some of those took like years to come out, who knows when that's actually going to happen. It's still disappointing. Like, I feel like when they did Leader Grimlock, Studio Series 86 Grimlock, originally that was going to be a fully fleshed out core class wheelie that he came with, and then it got budgeted down into just this 5-piece basic articulation figurine just for the sake of sitting on Grimlock as an accessory. But that's at a $50 price point. And you're telling me at 4 times the price point, you couldn't even do something similar to that. I know the price. I know the budget on Titans is like super tight because they're generally a one-use toy. They don't get a whole lot off of them that way. But still, come on. All right, I still don't buy that. Rise of the Beast delay. Will there be less toys in 2022, or other toys shifted earlier? Is Rise of the Beast stuff coming early? See, so for Legacy and Generations, there's no impact, and for the Studio Series versions of those toys, they're pretty much planned to be released when the movie is now coming out. So actually, the Studio Series stuff is going to be very timely. Ironically, just so happened to work out that way, I guess. We've already seen how Rise of the Beast toys that they couldn't stop in the production line are going to get shuffled into other lines. Buzzworthy Bumblebee's probably going to get a bunch of them. So we're going to see like basic gimmicky figures being released because, hey, they're ready to go. We can't hold them in the factory. We got to release them somehow. So the stuff they couldn't delay, expect to be buzzworthy releases in this weird like Frankensteining packaging. Everything else, it's going to wait. No comment on Rise of the Beast Optimus and Cyberverse. That's not a shock. Return to live conventions. Hasbro looking into it. The rest of the world getting back to normal, or at least trying to, prematurely or otherwise. Let's definitely not get into that topic. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not exactly hyped for another HasCon, really. Combining sword and core class. Story behind it. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. So it was a separate question. All weapons not part in previous designs are meant to combine. So if it looks like it's out of place for the character, connect it onto something else. It's a buildable play pattern similar to weaponizers, fossilizers. It's kid centric. It lets them actually do a lot of kids things. So nothing really surprising there. Bios and QR codes. Bios being short is because translations are expensive. Translations are charged by the word. Bios need to be translated into 27 languages. Now, that makes sense, because on a short bio, that'd be easy to machine translate a lot of those, especially into those European, Anglo-Saxon, kind of languages. Those would all be pretty similar to each other, and then you'd still need someone who's fluent in the language to proof check them. Now, that's probably a lot cheaper than having someone translate it word by word. But still, that actually makes a lot of sense. The reason we're not getting bios anymore is because, 27 languages. And that said, I don't see why every territory needs those translations up. Like, frankly, like that does seem like something they could include in just like certain areas. Okay, do it in English, do it in Spanish, do it in French, do it in like like the most common languages, and then everyone else make up your own thing. Because a lot of those like packagings for like the multilingual package, there's no bio on them at all. All right, I don't know. I don't know. I understand why. I miss like really fleshed out bios. Question 17. Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus will come with issue 1 of the new Shattered Glass miniseries. I wonder if the whole thing, does it have time to get out before IDW loses the license? Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus, John Warden planned the skull head for the figure. Okay, good to know. I still prefer the Delta Magnus head. Great that both of them are included. Let's see. Free conversation got started. So they mentioned that Legacy Tarantulas, the only part it shares from Black Arachian is the gun. Everything else is completely new tooling, though I'm sure some of the engineering is the same, which makes sense. Which makes absolute sense. So, good to know. Good to know. Fresh tooling. Let's see. They talked a lot about transmetals. According to the team, they talk a lot about transmetals. They constantly talk about stuff like that. Vac metal is harder and harder to do, so finding the right process to give the toys the right look. General consensus on the call is that we'd be fine without vac metal for new Transformers. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that a big reason why we want to actually have new Transmetal figures is because we want to actually have those designs without the Transmetal, the vac metal. Because that stuff sucks. It scratches and chips so easily. And even if the toy is just sitting on a shelf doing nothing, it's going to just decay. The metallic paint, the chrome is just going to erode and chip off. When I went to Orlando and I got all of these like mint inbox Beast Wars toys, one of the things that stood out to me was a few of them that were sealed in the box, and the transmetal had crumbled off of them, and it was just like dust in the bottom of the bubble. It was horrifying. They were completely sealed, but they were in terrible condition. There was a rat trap there that was especially bad. That's why we can't have the chrome. I think we would be fine with metallic paint. I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't just have that as the look. I don't think anyone would argue that, you know? I mean, of course, there's going to be people who want it to be as accurate as possible. Bring back the chrome. We want the vac metal. But really, the downsides outweigh the upsides so much. It's just down to, like, a look. And the look can be altered, you know? The look can be altered for the sake of having a toy that's going to last a long time. So, yeah, I'm happy to know that the design team talks about transmetals a lot. And I really want the designers to know, we don't care about the chrome. Just make the toys. We want the toys. Metallic paint. Simple as that. See. And see, we also had a question regarding potential Motormaster retools. Evan has something cooking. So the rumor is, the speculation is that Motormaster is going to get retooled into Thunderclash, which would be the first Thunderclash in a long time. Now, they're going to go retail level. I don't think you can get away with Thunderclash. He's obscure. The color is a little bit weird. We can take a look at Motormaster here. And we can actually tell, okay, yes, like the base mode actually does resemble the one in question a little bit, yeah. So I'm going to pitch something at you right now. I want you to brace yourself. Hold on here. So I want you to imagine, if you will, imagine this trailer, the trailer of this. Imagine it in gray and blue with large boxes pegged to the side, maybe an extra box on the back or something. So it looks, bulkier, wider, more futuristic, if you will. I want you to imagine those blocks coming off and creating fillers that create the back of the legs and the sides of these arms with wide shoulder pauldrons with gold painted details. I want you to imagine these doors flipping forward, and instead of car parts being on the underside, it would appear to be something that looks similar to a pair of missile launchers that are cast in blue. This I feel like is prime for an Armada Optimus retool. Like, I seriously think that would work, because we've got a super mode gimmick here. We've got a super mode gimmick here that's unintentional because it's meant to be Menasor. He just doesn't have the rest of his parts. So if you actually did a retool of this toy and actually packed in some extra kibble onto the trailer, stuff that could unfold into space fillers to create the bulk on the arms that makes it match Armada Prime, and creates the bulk on the back of the legs to shore them up, I think this would actually look really good. Now, Motormaster himself would have to be completely replaced, but frankly, it looks like that might be a separate mold altogether. They might be able to do like a separate retool somewhere down the line of just him as Thunderclash as a Selects, or some other character. I mean, there's got to be options there. And you know, look at the base mode again. Look at the base mode again. It goes out wide and has that tall central tower like Prime's does. Of course, it's very different in style, but like the shape is there. The intention is there. I think that would work. I think it would be cooler than Thunderclash. So that's my take. That's my take. That's my pitch to Hasbro. This should be Armada Prime. Retool the one Tarkara did and make it fit in the back of this guy. Whatever it takes, but I think that's the direction to go. I think that would work. That's just me. That's just me. All right, and we had someone playing with Metroplex on camera. Lots of loud ratcheting joints. The wheel does not open up, but it does have a ratcheted spin. We got to see Tarantulas' butt for some reason. Little Easter eggs sculpted into Menasor. The blasters from Masquerade are on the underside of his arm. That's actually really cool. Now, I don't actually know if it's the underside, but they're on his arm. They did show how the connectors on the legs do look similar to the Combiner War ports, but they're not quite the same. They showed off the arm connection again. They showed off a little bit more for Metroplex and the ramp connectors. Let's see. Mark worked on bots, some of the Series 6 guys, and the Pizza Race card. All right, good to know the lineage that came from. Toy bulk plays into wave consideration as well. Like, okay, so this is what I mentioned earlier. So, you know, a smaller deluxe means they can ship a larger deluxe, etc. Okay, and the last thing here, the split tooling for Legacy Stunticons, a way of partial retools for figures going forward. They hadn't thought of that, but they liked that idea. So who knows? We might get some really weird, like, cobbled together vehicle modes out of that. So that is the whole of the Hasbro Q&A. Lots of good tidbits this time. Lots of good questions, except for the Blitzwing turret one. That's about the only one where I feel like we got no tangible information that really helps us as a fandom in whole. There was also a question about potentially using, potentially generating more female characters down the line. That does play a part in it. They did mention gender is one of the considerations, but where is it? It was somewhere in here. Yeah, but there was something I read somewhere about them, trying to make more substantial female figures so far. Yeah, so that was cool. That was cool. So, yeah, lots of new stuff to look forward to, and lots to speculate on. And man, I really have to cut these videos down. I did not think I went that long. All right, so excuse me for going like very long-winded on this. There was a lot to cover and break down and share my thoughts on. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for watching. Lots of good stuff on the horizon. And Hasbro, keep doing this. Keep doing this. I really love when we get some access behind the scenes stuff and some ability to talk to you guys directly. This is like really strengthening, between like giving us, this is stuff that like, a stolen review can't give us. This is like the kind of info that like really keeps you connected to the fandom, and that is like super helpful. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.